Every program has a flow. The flow represents the set of statements that move between something to another. One of the things that provide us with this control is what we call the selection or the if conditions. Looking to these requirements, if I ask you to write a program that reads an integer for a salary, and if the salary is less than 1000, you will print you are poor. Otherwise, you do nothing, and end the program in all cases of printing work hard. If you looked about what we learned so far, there is nothing that help you to be that have such a control on your flow of the program. Python provides us with what we call the if condition. The syntax is as following: you write if some relational condition that should be true or false, and then you have a body for this if condition. Here is the code for that. Line 3 just read an integer for a salary, and then line 5 is using an if statement as following. It says if salary is less than 1000. Salary less than 1000 is what we call a relational condition, as we learned. It depends. If the user entered the salary like for example 500, then the salary less than 1000 would be false. If it's false, then line number 6 will be ignored, and we jump directly to line 8. But if it is true, line number 6 will be executed. So this is the syntax and the meaning of the if condition. If it is something, if it's true, it will be activated and applied, and if it is false, it will not be applied. So let's say that the user entered the 200 here. So if 200 is less than 1000, this is true. So the interpreter will go to line 6 and execute it to print this statement, and then move outside it to print this statement. But on the other side, if the user entered the 3000, if 3000 is less than 1000, this is false. So the body of the if condition here will be ignored, and we jump to directly line 8. Observe here, line number 6 has around 4 spaces before it, or one tab, but this tab will end up like a bunch of spaces, as we will learn. So you cannot write line number 6 to be here directly under the if. It have to be a few spaces to the inside, and this spaces in the begin is what we call indentation. Indentation refers to the spaces at the beginning of line code. So far we were learning to write the lines directly here, but inside the if statement you have to indent them together. This represents what we call a block of code. For example, here line number 8, line number 10 are on the same block of code because they share the same number of spaces here, which is 0. Line number 11 and line number 12 represents a block of code, and they have a shared number of same spaces. They are 4 spaces, and they are here together in the same block. You must indent each line of the block by the same amount of spaces. For example, if this is 4 spaces but this is 3 spaces, you will get an indentation error. Now what's important here is when the if condition is true, all of the block lines of code below it will be executed. So if ispoor is true, line number 11 and line number 12 will both be executed, and any line after the 13 here, like outside here, which is 0 indentation, it will be executed after the if statement. So be careful about what is a block of code, or the code block. Also interesting to know about what we call the variable scope. Here is an if condition, and I'm saying if something I'm reading as an input and converting to integer is less than 1000, go to line 4 and print the lucky number. Now lucky number is defined here. We call something scope referring to where is it accessible. For example, I'm trying to access the variable lucky number here at line 8. Now there is a problem in this code. If this if condition is true, the line number 4 will assign lucky number to 13, and it will be printed normally here. However, if this condition is false, lucky number will not be assigned, and it will cause here what we call a name error. A name error is a complaint that this variable doesn't exist. So be careful. This if condition here might be problematic because you are defining this variable here or assigning this variable here for the first time. One proper way to handle that is to assign it here to some value first, and it might be overriding with a new value here and used here in all cases. So overall, the scope refers to where the variable is accessible, where is it visible, and be careful from such cases to avoid name error problems. Advice: if you already learned C++ and coming to Python, do not try write C++ in a Python way. Like, they are two different languages. In C++, we try, if we define a variable internally, we actually, if we declared it here, we cannot use it here. So some guys might feel bad that they are using the variable here. In Python, this is okay, and this is normal. You just have to be careful and know what you are doing. The most popular coding mistakes: you forgot the colon. If you return it back one step here, you will observe the if condition end always with a colon, and usually beginners forget this colon. The second one is to have multiple lines per block but with different indentation. Keep the number of spaces to be the same for every block of code. The third, as we learned, the variables to be careful from variables accessed after an if condition and they were assigned inside only the if condition. This will cause a problem in your code. That's all.